In today's video, you're going to get a highly condensed version of a 4-hour trip we took on the Danger Cruises sailboat, the Danger. Captain Meg and her crew are getting ready to depart. They're getting the ropes undone. I've got the video sped up to 2 times normal so that you can see as much as we can make work reasonably. You'll see my wife Cheryl sitting here on the boat, and we brought her down in the wheelchair, and the step over was not particularly hard, so we were able to get her onto the boat. She's sitting there. The one challenge is she's just sitting there drinking water. And this is a 4-hour boat ride on a boat where the toilet, latrine, head, whatever you want to call it, is in the hold down a flight of steps, or actually not steps, let's call it a ladder. It's really a ladder. And so that was a challenge for her. The toilet's also not a convenience height toilet, which added a different level of challenge, but we were able to get things to work. So if you have limited mobility, I would highly recommend this for the 1-hour version of the cruise. The 4 hours is a long time to wait to go. Anyway, we're backing out now. We're under power right now. We're going to go out under power for a while, then they'll put the sails up, and we will sail over to an area where we're going to do some snorkeling. I'm going to let you listen to some music, and I'll provide narration where there's something of value. Do me a favor, if you get value out of videos like this, the little bell icon there to the right, and that'll notify you when I release new videos. I'm almost to 1,000, which is the magic number in the YouTube world, and I'd appreciate your help. Thanks.
Have a good one of these. Does anybody know what this is in my hand? A map, right? It's a treasure map. I'm just kidding. If it was, wouldn't be here right now. This right here, we have that fancy name for things on the boat, like that's the head of the bathroom, where she's steering. The steering wheel is also the helm. This right here is a chart. The main difference between a map and a chart is the fact that it has all these cool little numbers, right, in the water, right? All over the map there's these numbers. Well, the numbers are denoting the depth of the water. Usually in feet, or meters, or even fathoms, right? If you want to go old school.
Go ahead and hit the like button. What that'll do is let YouTube know there's content that's worthwhile, and they will share it with other people. I really appreciate it. Also, if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button.
The deepest part of our trip was actually back at the marina, right? We had left Key West way back over here. That marina was an old Navy base where they had actually dredged to about 40 feet to allow the U.S. Navy to get their warships in. Then we crossed that channel that Meg was motoring us about. And that was the Northwest Channel, a semi-natural channel that runs about 15 feet on average. And now we're coming into the lakes, which the average depth is about 4 feet or less. So you can see all around us is actually very, very shallow water. So that's why it's really good to have a good one of these. Now you can imagine back in the day, people didn't have this, or they weren't exceptional sailors. Things like that happened much more often, right? People running into the flats, or heck, even running into, you guys see that tower way out there? You guys know Cuba, right? That's not Cuba. That's the Sand Key Lighthouse over there, right? And that's denoting the barrier reef that runs along the coastline here. So back in the day, people would run into that. They had no idea it was there until the first person hit it with their boat. Woo!
another danger boat.
That's our sister ship there. They're coming in from a full day trip. So anyways, the story of Key West, it kind of starts off like the rest of the Americas, right? Very similar story. Does anybody know what happened in 1492?
Columbus.
Columbus, right? Sailed the ocean blue. Now this is the real question. What did he do in 1493?
Sailed the ocean blue?
Right. Yes, sir. You actually are correct, right? He didn't retire. In fact, he went on and he did 3 more trips. He had 4 voyages total to the Americas during his lifetime. And he wrote about it along the way, telling everybody about the riches and everything to be discovered here, encouraging other people to come. One of those that was encouraged was actually his navigator by a name of Ponce de Leon. Somebody familiar with Ponce de Leon, what he was looking for? Gold is the right answer, right? The fountain of youth is the lore, though, right?
Yeah.
He was looking for the fountain of youth. Some say he found it here. Well, there's no fresh water in Key West, so he definitely didn't find it here. He actually went up into the rest of Florida. He was fascinated with Florida, and they say he found it in North Florida. There's a lot of beautiful springs up there that they like to think was the fountain of youth. But anyways, he did discover Key West. He was the first one to come across the island, besides the natives that were living here. And he discovered the island when he went on shore. What he discovered was stacks of sun-beat bleached bones. That's why he named the island Kayawesa. Kayawesa kind of sounds like Key West, right? An English person heard it. But Kayawesa meant Bone Island, right? After the bones that he saw there. And that was because the Calusa tribe, they knew that you couldn't actually dig into the ground. It's a hard limestone bottom made out of old coral reef. And it flooded very often, right? So when the settlers came, the European settlers came, they actually dug into the sand at Higgs Beach. That was where the original cemetery was. Well, in the 1830s, a massive hurricane came by and flooded it. And everything came washing down Duval Street. So they learned from that. They actually went up to the highest point of the island, in the middle of the island, and they actually have built all of the crypts and all the graves above ground. Everything is above ground now at the cemetery. So anyways, he discovers the island. He was an exceptional sailor. He'd come out here and he'd have a lead spin on the front of his boat, dropping a weighted stone to the bottom and measuring the depth and fathoms, right? And he would write on his chart.
After the mate's briefing, we would stop and do some snorkeling. And we spent about an hour or so in the water snorkeling. The water was extremely clear. You can see there's little fish around. We're in really shallow water, so you're not going to find a lot of big fish in there, normally speaking. The water was very, very clear. I'm probably in 4 feet of water or so, and you can see how easy it is to see the bottom. A little later, I'll probably be in some even shallower water. There were not much in the way of coral, but a lot of these are sponges you see here. There were quite a few different kinds of sponges that you would find in the water. A little bit of floating seaweed. The water was nice. It was really calm in this area, in part because they call it a lake because it is a really shallow, as the mate was saying, really shallow area where that tends to dampen the wave action. This video is still sped up. During my time in the water, I did, and we'll see them here in a little bit, I did find some lobster. I was looking at, there's a lot of growth and some different kinds of shells on the bottom. Some of them are live, some of them were not live. But this is a marine sanctuary off of Key West. Because this is a marine sanctuary and we're in really shallow water, they asked us to float on noodles, which made it flash as light appear because my camera would pop up out above the surface if I looked forward a little bit. Again, moving pretty quickly. It wasn't that quick in real life. But we're out here just looking at, and he was pointing at a lobster. There's a lobster under this rock. And in fact, we see some more lobsters. You can see the antenna sticking out there on the left of the frame. I'll sneak around here and we'll get another picture in a little bit. There was this is an old crab trap. There was a lot of debris here on the bottom. Before they made it a sanctuary, people were putting stuff in the water trying to make a habitat for animals, but it didn't seem to have much impact. There's a lobster hiding between two rocks. He's not as well hidden as he thinks he is because we can see him. And on the other side of this rock, in a minute, you'll see me point. Because on this side of the rock, there were two more lobsters. You can just see them, the heads sticking out a little bit there. And so around these two rocks, there were 3 lobsters in hiding. And I thought I had some pictures of jellyfish, but evidently my camera stopped. I did run into one jellyfish that kind of got interested in me, and I decided that I wanted to get away from him. I let some other people know that lobsters were here, so they're coming over to look and see the lobsters as well. And there was a pretty good sized group of us out here snorkeling. After we come out of the water, we're going to move the boat a little ways, and then they're going to launch the kayaks. And so there's a group of people on the boat. In fact, probably most of the ones on the boat went kayaking. Cheryl's wasn't something she was up for, and I stayed on the boat with her. I was feeling a little bit tired anyway. I thought of kayaking in and out by myself. I was like, nah, I think not. But it was a beautiful day just to be sitting here on the boat and to be enjoying the sunshine and a little bit of a breeze. It's just been a really nice day. I love being on the water, and any excuse to get out there suits me very well. You can see them all headed now as a big group. They're spread out pretty wide, but they're all headed in toward the island. This person at the end is catching up. They would spend probably half an hour, 45 minutes paddling around on the island, and then they would come back with the breeze. When they came back, it made for an interesting process of recovery. You'll see a little bit of that in just a second. Here they come back in. And this first one, they had to go around the ship. They had too much speed and didn't get turned around in time. So Captain Meg was instructing everybody, trying to figure out where that other kayak was going. But was giving everybody instructions on how to come in so she could get them, because they would get off the kayak, they'd bring the kayaks up on board the boat. And now we're coming up on sunset. And this was included a sunset sail. And as you see, starting to be quite a few other boats showing up out here. That's Key West in the distance. We're moving in back toward the marina. We're back under power now. And you'll see it's still a little early, but the clouds, and there's a rainstorm over there. It made for a really nice sail back in. Reserve now. So we're headed back to Key West. As we continue toward Key West, what we see is the number of boats in the vicinity increases exponentially. We'll have a couple of them toward the end that'll actually sail between us and the sunset. This is one of them, but there's a couple more, and made for an interesting view. And there's cormorant and seagulls having an aerial dogfight of the bird version, called the avian version. The seagulls are a lot smaller than the cormorant, and I'm not sure what the cormorant did to irritate them, but they were sure giving that cormorant grief. Cormorant finally decides to fly off and get away from them. If you look at that cloud there, it looks like somebody's blowing a horn. Kind of has a nose on a face, and this disappearing sun is bringing more and more color to the sunset.
Low power.
Another sailboat loaded with people coming out to watch. We're getting pretty close to Key West now, and again, just more and more boats out here. In fact, you can see all the people on our boat taking pictures of people on other boats taking pictures of our boat. There's one of two sailboats there that will get between us and the sun, which makes for an interesting picture. And it'll be joined by one other here in just a second. There's the second one. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Coming up in just a second, you'll see some other suggested videos that I think you'll enjoy from Key West. And also you'll see you can poke me in the nose and subscribe. I appreciate it.